وهو نبذة سريعة. يعني فعلا كان عندنا الكلية بتعمل مؤتمر حصاد علمي، وده الحصاد العلمي الثالث، والمؤتمر اسمه العقاقير. أرحب بالإخوة الأعزاء والزملاء من ليبيا الشقيقة وزمايلي وأبناء الطلاب اللي هم معانا.
العقاقير كانت بعد المؤتمر بتاعها كنا بنتكلم عن الاهداف المرجوه لعلم العقاقير. علم العقاقير من اقدم العلوم. احنا كنا النهارده عايزين نحاول ندي بعض الضوء على ان هناك من حاجات جديده جدا دخلت العقاقير.
بالنسبه للبحث العلمي، كليه الصيدله الحمد لله بتتقدم سنه عن سنه في عمليه البابليكيشن، خصوصا بنركز على البحث او النشر الاجنبي. النشر الاجنبي في الكليه ما شاء الله كل سنه بيزيد عن السنه اللي قبلها.
طالب عبد الله رضا السيد.
This is a presentation for a review study entitled A Comparison Between Herbal Extracts of Traditional Plants Used in the Treatment of Alzheimer's Disease. Well, first of all, Alzheimer's disease have a very, very dangerous incidence and dangerous symptoms too of memory loss and the inability of learning new things. So from this point, I started to compare between the different herbal extracts used in the treatment of the disease. So the first thing we are going to talk about today is the epidemiology. Then we're going to mention some facts about the pathogenesis of the disease, and then the relation between the pathogenesis and the mechanism of the disease. Then we're going to mention the study objective, the methodology used during the study, then a quick review for the traditional herbs commonly used in the Alzheimer's treatment included in this study, and finally we are going to talk about conclusions and recommendations. So the first thing, epidemiology. Alzheimer's disease was firstly discovered in 1911 by the German psychiatrist Alzheimer. And today, the major type of dementia here is the syndrome of memory loss. Alzheimer represents about 60 to 80% of the cases of dementia. But the cases in 2012 diagnosed with Alzheimer's are about 36 million people. So this is a very big number, and this number is expected to grow to 66 million in 2030, making the disease can be considered as an epidemic by this time. And despite the fact of the early discovery of the disease from nearly 100 years ago, no effective treatment was found till the present time. So why no effective treatment was found? This is due to the pathogenesis of the disease. Well, Alzheimer's disease is a progressive neurodegenerative disorder. And the main cause of the neurodegenerative disorder is not found until now, but we have two hypotheses for the memory loss. The first one is the senile plaques caused due to the hypergrowth of the beta-amyloid peptides, and this occurs in the hippocampus part of the brain responsible for storing memory. And accordingly, when the hypergrowth of the beta-amyloid peptides occur, the senile plaques are formed and the hippocampus malfunctions. So it cannot store new memories and the old memories are lost too. There's another hypothesis returning the causes of the memory loss to the hyperphosphorylation of tau proteins. As you can see from this figure, here is the pathogenesis of the disease. So, why herbal extracts? Herbal extracts are actually processing various high profile of antioxidant and acetylcholinesterase inhibition effects. So, antioxidant effects can actually help in scavenging the free radical reactions, and so it can attenuate the effect of the hypergrowth of the amyloid beta peptides and tau phosphorylation. At the same time, the acetylcholinesterase inhibition effects can break down the acetylcholinesterase enzyme that breaks down acetylcholine, and this enhances the neural activity of the infected or the damaged cells in the brain, slowing down the complexity of the disease. So here we're not talking about a perfect treatment for the disease, we're just slowing down the complexity. So, what's the objective of the study? This is a review study for preclinical and clinical published articles about different herbal extracts used in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. This study was done through making a thorough search through online libraries like ScienceDirect, Wiley, Springer, and PubMed. And the review study here, we're following a certain criteria. The disease studied in these published articles was dementia, which is cognitive impairment due to memory loss, and the extract used was from a single herb or a complex. Some extracts are extracted from a group of herbs, not just one herb, and of course the studies were including clinical and preclinical trials. Now this is a review for the traditional herbs included in this study, classified according to the traditional medical systems. These are the systems in which these herbs were originally used hundreds of years ago, before the common medical concept, modern concept that we know nowadays. So first of all, we'll talk about the traditional Chinese herbs. We have ginkgo biloba. This is one of the most ancient Chinese used herbs. The extract used is ETB761. This was tested clinically and preclinically and gave significant positive results of improving cognition. We have ginseng. We have this Panax ginseng, the white one, and we have Korean red ginseng. Both of them proved to have a very good antioxidant effect, and so they can reduce the rate of free radical reactions and accordingly improve cognition. Then we have the extract of Dangui Shaoyasan. This is extracted from a complex of 6 herbs, as we can see. Also, this one has a very good acetylcholine inhibition profile and relieving the oxidative stress. Then we have Akibia saponin D. Both of the Dangui Shaoyasan and Akibia saponin D were tested preclinically on rats, and they proved to have a very good acetylcholine inhibition profile. Then we have Ganoderma lucidum. The extract used was the ethanolic extract of Ganoderma lucidum. This one was also tested preclinically on mice and gave significant results. Then we have Fujisan. This is extracted from a complex, and it was tested clinically in double-blind randomized placebo-controlled studies, and it had significant results when it was compared to placebo. Then we have the Coptosis rhizomes, where the berberine HCl is extracted. This was used commonly in the Chinese and the Indian systems, and it also has a very good antioxidant effect. And we have to mention that all the previously mentioned extracts work on the beta-amyloid peptide synapse, while this one, the endorubin 3-monoxime, extracted from the Dangui Lungui one, this one is working on both routes, previously mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. It's working on the alpha-beta amyloid peptides, the beta amyloid peptides, and the tau phosphorylation routes. So this one has pretty good results. Next, we have the Indian herbs. We have Centella asiatica and Moraia conigulin. This is the curry leaf, and both of them also show a very good profile of antioxidant, of being an antioxidant and an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor, both tested preclinically on rats. We have Bacopa munieri, Desmodium gendicatum, and then we talk about the Mediterranean herbs. Salvia officinalis and Melissa officinalis, they both have a very similar profile, and they were both tested by the same group of people clinically in randomized double-blind placebo-controlled studies, and they improved cognition compared to placebo. We have Crocus sativus, saffron, and saffron was actually compared to donepezil, the chemical drug used, the widely used chemical drug in Alzheimer's treatment, and there was nearly no difference between the results of both of them, so this is a very good point that we can talk about here in Crocus sativus. So, as it's a natural extract instead of a chemical prepared drug. Then we have vinca minor, from which vinpostine is extracted, and it also proved to be significant compared to placebo. The final extract here is galantamine, and galantamine is a very widely used drug in the market in treating Alzheimer's currently, and it showed results similar to vinpostine and so on. So from all the previously mentioned facts, herbal extracts seem to offer a very wide hope in the research for finding a proper treatment for Alzheimer's disease. But we should notice that mostly all of the herbs are actually working on the beta-amyloid synapse. None of them is working on the tau phosphorylation except for the interleukins. So as a recommendation, further research should be conducted due to the current drug mechanism limitations, because we don't know actually what's the real cause of the disease. We have two hypotheses. And finally, more attention should be driven to the tau phosphorylation route for having extracts that are working on both routes like interleukins, instead of just an extract that's working on just one route, which is the beta-amyloid peptides. And thank you for listening.
الشباب انهم فعلا حيكونوا على مستوى عالي من الترتيب والحكي، يعني انا شايفه الثقه والطالب وهو بيحكي وما زال في بدايه حياته. الحقيقه انا كنت مبسوطه جدا.
احنا فعلا استفدنا النهارده استفاده كبيره جدا جدا. العروض الطلابيه ومعرفتنا بالنماذج المتميزه جدا اللي احنا يعني حقيقي يعني اتفاجئنا بمستويات حلوه جدا جدا.